untie my hair.
Oh, put it down actually.
Yeah, so much hair.
Yeah. Go do the hair comb.
They're herbal essence.
No, I forgot.
Rogaine?
Rogaine.
Do I look like I need Rogaine? More hair than you.
Dang, you just. All right, action.
What up?
What up?
Episode number 16.
Yes, episode 16.
Welcome back.
Very cool. Happy December. We are here officially in December.
Yeah. Yep. And today we're talking about growth.
Yeah, you got to grow in order for your cash flow to grow.
Your business.
Your business, yeah. I think, for the first 4 years of my career in business, I carried a book and never read it.
So it was a prop?
I had every intention of reading it, but I just never read it. I always carried it. And I remember one time my friend Riza goes, "Hey, how's that book you're reading?" And she genuinely was asking, and I was like, "Which book?" And she's like, "The book you carry around all the time." I'm like, "Which one?" She's like, "The T. Harv Eker, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind you've been carrying for 2.5 years." Like, how is it? I was like, I've actually never read it. And so here's the deal, though. I planned on reading it. And that's why this topic is so important, is because I felt the way that I think so many people feel when we talk about this topic, which is I felt like I was always racing the clock. I was always behind. I was broke. I had no money. And I could not afford to become stagnant and sit there and read a book, because while I was reading the book, I was losing money and falling even further behind. And so because of that, I always had intentions of reading, and I said, once I'm making money, once I'm winning, once I'm ahead, then I will stop, and I'll be able to afford to take the time out of working and sit down and read. And the reality is that the entire time what I needed to do was read so I could grow, because sometimes we're so busy where we're not really being productive anyways. But that's why I never did it. I always felt like I couldn't afford to do it.
So there's this saying that goes around in business, right? You've heard it. I've heard it. That you can't out-earn your identity. Right. Do you feel like that's true?
Yeah, that's so true. I think if you're broke, part of the reason you're broke is because you have, at least for me, I had the identity of being broke. Like I think the first step to getting unbroke is to be aware of the fact that, all right, whatever I'm doing up to this point isn't good enough. I'm barely paying my bills, and there must be something I can do different. Like a lot of people watch this, they'll go, "Well, duh, no shit. If I'm broke, yeah, I know." No, but the reality is, like, seriously, tons of people are broke, and they will stay that way for forever. Where if you want to unbroke yourself, you got to first sit down and go, okay, you know what? What I'm doing is not working. And maybe there's a mentality somewhere. See, self-development gets always tied to, I think it's a good thing. Business and self-development get tied together, right? I never read a book till I got into business. Prior to that, I wasn't thinking like, oh, let me sit down and read this book on how to be a great communicator. I didn't need that crap unless I'm going in business or I'm trying to get a job as a manager, or like I'm trying to study some sort of leadership position for my work or something. Who picks up a John Maxwell self-development book if they're just an everyday employee at a job? I don't think that's a common thing.
I had an opposite experience because my grandma was a teacher.
But
she was
were
a
you
reader.
reading self-development?
Yes.
You were?
Yes.
Oh, well.
She was definitely the type who she would see, because a lot of times, back in her day, they would advertise these books on TV. Like,
Really?
Hey, learn how to change your life in 5 easy steps, like books like that, self-development books. And so she would tell me, oh, go to the store, go to Borders or, whatever bookstore was around at that time, and go pick up this book. And I would read it. Because she would even be like, oh yeah, you kind of need to work on your, emotions. Go pick up. She had me pick up like, she used to watch like the famous like preachers and stuff, and they'd come out with their books and
like Billy Graham.
Yes,
books.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
like, oh, go
Well,
read the-
but I think that's an anomaly. I think that's an exception. I don't think your everyday person is sitting around reading John Maxwell books,
Right.
unless they're trying to grow for a reason, right? And so that's the whole thing. You got to grow in order to grow in your cash flow.
But that's the most important point, though. It's you realizing that I have to change something because
Right.
it's not working. So you're saying, yeah, there's a lot of people who are broke, but how many people are there going, I'm broke, I need to change something because what I'm doing is not working, and then actually go and take action steps to do that. That's the difference.
Yeah, you know what made me read though wasn't so much I'm broke, I want to grow. It wasn't any of those things. It was the fact that Dan always said that the more you read, the more money you'll make. And he always said, I can't explain it. I don't know why. It just happens that way. You start reading, you'll start recruiting. You start reading, you'll start having clients. You start reading, you'll start having people contact you wanting to do business with you. You start reading, you start getting bigger checks. And so I was like, you know what? Let me try this freaking reading thing out. You know, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's that the reading makes me more focused, that the reading kind of turns on my senses where I'm like paying better attention. I don't know what it was, but every time I started reading, I started getting paid.
I like to think it's kind of reprogramming yourself. Because if you said it earlier, right? You were broke, so you thought like a broke person. And when you're reading, you're absorbing somebody else's thoughts. And whatever credentials they have, if they're talking about thinking more positively, or they're talking about business and business IQ and how to communicate with people and work with people, all these words that you're reading, you're now inserting new thoughts that you didn't previously have before.
From some of the wisest people out there.
Yeah, so you're kind of piggybacking on their experience. You didn't have to go through the things they went through or build the things they built to already have that experience under your belt. And before you knew it, you're kind of brainwashing yourself in the best way possible, because now it's just like songs, right? Music is so important. We get all these things stuck in our head, all these lyrics. But if we're reading and we're reading the right things, we're getting the same information stuck in our head, whether we're aware of it or not.
Yeah, you start to absorb the best thoughts from the best leaders and the best people in business. So let's talk. We wrote down 4 key points on how to grow you so that you can grow your business. Because here's the deal. You cannot make more money without getting better in your thinking. You know, the $30,000 mindset's not going to make a $100,000 income. The $50,000 mindset's not going to make a $500,000 income. There are skill sets and there are mentalities that have to exist for you to grow and continue to make more money and continue to have more success in business. Skill sets and mentalities. A lot of the mentalities come with experience, and a lot of the skill sets come with experience, but I believe in reading and intentionally growing and doing things that make you grow, you can accelerate that process.
Yes.
All right, so let's go through a couple of them. Number 1, practice what you preach. So what does that mean? Why are we saying practice what you preach? Because everyone's heard that a million times in business.
It's exactly what it sounds like. Practice what you preach. So if you want to grow, and we were just talking about this, right? You want to grow, you know you need to grow, you know you need to do something different. So then go and do something different.
Okay.
If you're like, I'm going to read more, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, then you need to start doing all those things. And if we're specifically talking about business, in our industry, we work in finance. So if you're telling people they need to save money, they need to invest, they need to X, Y, Z, you yourself need to be doing those things so you can build that mindset about saving, earning money, investing money, etc.
The practice what you preach. To me, I'm so grateful that people like Dan and people like Milet continue to grow, because it always leaves room for us to catch up, right? It always leaves space where there's this distance between coach and player. There's this difference between coach and teammate. And so for those of you that are trying to grow an agency, you're trying to grow a company, you're trying to grow a business, you've got to continue to practice what you preach, right? Meaning that, yes, I want my team growing. I want my team reading. We do a tenacity book of the month. We always have a podcast we're recommending. We always sending out stuff for the team to watch and listen to. But we're consciously also trying to stay ahead of the game, because I want my team trying to catch up to me. I don't want my team being being more intentional on growth than I am, which means that I've got to continue to improve. I got to continue to keep distance and keep a gap in between us, because that's my job. The second the leader gets stagnant, the team gets stagnant. So a lot of you are wondering, why is my team not winning? Why is my team not growing? Why is my team not improving? Well, when's the last time you were winning, growing, and improving? Versus I'm just sitting around all day trying to make money. Sitting around all day trying to make money is not growing. Sitting around all day trying to make money is not improving. That's doing the work on a daily basis, working in my business, but that's not working on my company and on me. And I'm the business, I'm the company. Number 2, study your craft. Study and master your craft.
Yeah, whatever industry you're in, we're in finance, you got to not only study it, but you got to master that. So what it means is you just got to take the action steps. Whatever you need to perfect, it's going to take repetition and you actually doing it.
So if you're in our industry, you study what? You study your presentations, you study your products, you study the skill sets on a daily basis, the things that you're actually doing with clients, right? Sitting down, presenting, speaking the words of the business, explaining how the products worked inside and out, mastering all forms of your presentations, the stuff that makes you money, right? The tangible things, phone calls, objections, that stuff it's easy to study. It's easy to find a list of the most common questions clients ask, or a list of the most common things that business partners ask. So studying those things, it's not cool to suck at this. Mm-mm. And you're not going to make money, you're not going to scale, and you're not going to grow a team if your skill sets are bad. Number 3 is investing time and money into yourself.
Yeah, and this can look so many different ways. We talked about reading, right? Buying books, audiobooks, doing things like that, but also maybe some therapy, maybe some workshops. We've been to Tony Robbins' workshop. We've been to Grant Cardone's workshop. We've been to these different arenas where it gives us the opportunity to learn something new and to grow.
Also, like self stuff, just stuff you could do on your own. There's an app for everything now. There's so many apps, whether it's meditation apps, whether it's gratitude apps, whether it's, self-therapy apps. Like there's so much resources. There's literally an app for every single thing. Everything you could ever think of, there's an app for. And some of them are extremely good. And so it's just sitting down and being aware of what areas in your life you need to grow and you need to improve. And then being a little resourceful and finding something that you can do that will enhance that. The last thing on growing yourself, which is pretty common sense and we've talked about, books, podcasts, meditation, gratitudes. I think the most important thing on self-growth is having self-growth a part of your everyday process.
Yeah, just working it into who you are.
So you read books. You've probably read 45 to 50 books this year already. So you read books in what ways? And because like I said in the very beginning, I felt like I couldn't afford to read. So what are ways that someone could read without feeling like it's taking away from their productivity?
Audiobooks.
Okay, so
That's
you
the
read
number one
audiobooks
thing.
when?
While I'm getting ready in the morning, while I'm getting ready in the evening,
Okay.
driving, walking the dog, doing dishes, doing the things that don't require mental energy because they're routine, right? They're just kind of things you do by default. So that way it allows your mind to actually absorb something.
So while you're doing all that stuff, you got a book on and headphones or whatever.
Yeah, in the car, driving, stuck in traffic.
What about podcasts? What do you think's better for growth, podcasts or books?
I've always switched back and forth. Books are great because you can pick a book specifically on an area that you want to grow in.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
So I would do both.
Meditation, gratitudes, affirmations, all that stuff. I mean, I think those are things you should be doing on a daily basis. And sometimes people think, oh, it's cheesy, affirmations. But so a lot of times affirmations, it's just affirming a positive belief that helps you, right? Because we all say affirmations every day, whether it's I'm shy, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm trying my best, I'm not that outgoing, I'm scared to talk to people, maybe this isn't for me. Those are affirmations that we're saying every single day. So when we intentionally do affirmations, it's just replacing, sometimes not replacing because you still keep saying the stuff you shouldn't say, but it's adding in there at some point in your day. Hey, I'm the best with clients. I'm the best with prospecting. Everyone wants to be in business with me. Everyone wants to be my client. I'm great at making money. You know, which is so powerful, because if it's not that, then a lot of times we're stuck to just the default. You know, we walk around, I'm broke. God, I'm so freaking broke. You know, and these things are just reinforced in our mind constantly.
Yeah, you got to stop the loop.
Yeah, break that pattern, replace it with something that's good for you. All right.
All right, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening and liking and all that good stuff. Shout out to our producer, DJ Just J. He makes music. Check him out on Instagram. And yeah, we're just excited to be doing this. So hopefully you guys can put some of this to use, and we will talk to you later.
All right, y'all. We're out.
Bye.